Hello! Welcome to the Bible Study Girl podcast. This is Sarita, but you probably know me as Bible Study Girl. And executive producing this podcast is Bible Study Brother.
What's good, people? It's your boy, Icarus Gray, also known as Bible Study Brother. Be sure to check out Gray Area Anime on all the other streaming platforms.
Are you quite finished?
I am.
Okay. Thank you for your little extra razzle dazzle.
Yeah.
Could have used a button, but all right.
Which button?
I mean, we don't have a button for that, but I'm just saying. Anyways.
Well, what kind of button? I'll work on it.
Okay. Thanks. Now, let's see how long it takes that to happen, guys, because
Oh my god.
I had to beg for some music at the beginning. Anyways.
Also, apologies earlier if y'all hear this. We have our refrigerator. Just, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, ignore. Continue.
You know, typically I don't hear those noises, but I do hear that.
I know, but because this one I was like, oh, it's coming through. But the devil is a lie. You will not.
Okay. So today we're not here to talk about refrigerator noises. We are here to talk about friendships. What makes a good friend for you? Are you a good friend? The important aspects of friendship.
And importantly, like, what should we try and seek as friends? I think the biggest common misconception that we have is that longevity equals great friendship.
I think you are correct. That is a really big misconception, because you could be friends with somebody for 20, 30 years and it's not really like
and that just means not so much that like loyalty or friendship that you can't have long friendships, but we think like how long I've known you is what I mean by the longevity.
I got you.
I wanted to clarify with him because sometimes it can be like, well, I've been friends for 30 years and we haven't had any problems. So I'm like, well, I'm not speaking to that. I'm also speaking to people that we knew in elementary and we grew up with.
How about we start with this? How do you define someone as a friend? Like, I think that makes all the difference too, because, you know, we live in a culture now where we have Facebook friends, but a lot of those people are not people that are really invested in our lives, are not people that we really do life with. They're people that watch our lives, but they're not necessarily, you know, friends. And you hear pastors and preachers and definitely old school people say that all the time. So I'm curious as to like what qualifies someone as a friend for you.
For me, it's knowing me and me knowing you on some non-surface level. In the sense that it's like, okay, if I'm out of character or if I'm being a little too much, you can say, bro, you know you was going a little too hard. And me having that same capabilities for the other person, like in just being knowledgeable of a person. In a way that's like, you ain't got to know all my cousins and family members and all this other stuff. That would be nice, because that's a different level of friendship. That's when we reach the point of family to me, which I guess is more so what I consider at that point. Like, I'm getting all kinds of mixed up here. But what I'm really saying, to clarify, clear my thoughts, say it more plainly, depth of knowledge for me, period.
Just period.
Just, do you understand me in a way that's not how the world views me, how my coworkers may view me, or any of that. Do you know me, and do I somehow know you?
Just somebody knowing you may like. Okay, so
I didn't make it plain enough.
So what okay, because I wanted you to answer what you consider to be a friend, because I have a different definition of a friend. I just wanted us to be like on the same to see what.
Okay, so like actual actions and things. So it's like, so if
not even that. Like, Okay, so how many friends would you say you have then? If that is your definition of a friend,
like real friends.
See, that's the thing. Like,
To
me, if I say you're my friend, that means you're a real friend. And I think, I don't know.
Well,
like,
I guess
I wouldn't ever say to somebody, you're just an associate, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
probably enough to count on my hands, probably.
yeah, I don't have a lot of friends. And one thing I liked about I think your definition is when we have friends, they become family.
Yeah.
And so it's, you do have people that's like, okay, we're friends, but we're beyond that. We're family. And then is everybody else in the friend category? Like, you got family, like you're my friend, but you're like family friend. Saying. And then like, oh, you're a friend, but like, no, this is family.
So, yeah. So I guess to me, friends are family. And then like, or friends are family. So therefore anybody else is just an associate. Like, I just know you.
Gotcha.
that like, because I was thinking about it, I'm like, you're right, because we don't think of friends as just friends. With us, if you're my friend, you end up becoming family. You know,
are part of my family because we spend a lot of time with our family. I would be hard pressed to say that you are my friend if you haven't spent time with my family.
Oh.
For me personally, I would be hard pressed. Although I have different circles of people that I interact with. Not to say that they're not.
But that speaks to a different need that we can get to or talk about now if you want to, with the different.
We can talk about it later. Okay. We don't have to talk about it now. But and so I was just curious what your definition of a friend is. Like,
family.
Friends are family for you.
Even some of the friends are family. Like, because, you know, it's not just that we grew up together. For me, in a lot of ways, it's seeing my brothers as fathers, seeing my friends as mothers, or, you know, when they come around, the fact that grandma would call a lot of my family her grandkids, you know, and mama would do the same thing. Hey, son, and when people come around. So, and then, you know, people asking like, well, where's so-and-so? Hey, is so-and-so around? And like, if that person is not with me or around or whatever, that's what I love about having friends in that way, because I want that. I don't have a big brother. I have a big sister. I don't have a little sister. So when those parts of my family get placed, it does something to me spiritually that is so good to my soul, because it gives me an experience that I've never had or didn't have always.
Right.
So,
yeah. So I was just trying to set like, what is, when we say friend, what do we mean? What do we even mean?
Yeah.
Because it's different for different people. Like, for some people, when they use the word friend, they mean pretty much anybody they've ever met or had a conversation with, and that's not my experience.
Oh, no, that is like that's also why I tried to do like I said, you cannot know me on a shallow basis. Like, if you know my favorite color on my birthday, that don't make you my friend.
Gotcha.
That just means you are observant and you asked a question.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it. I will say I have a lot of people that and here's another thing for me with my friendships. Like, take for instance my BSGs. We spent a lot of time together at one point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so they became family. And even though we didn't like spend as much time together, they were still family. You know,
right.
That doesn't mean that they get dismissed.
Right. But that's adult. That's another thing that we can explain, like adult friendships versus when I was a kid.
Right.
Like,
can I tell you? I'm gonna tell you this story. I don't think I've ever said this before. When I was a child, really even a teenager, I could not picture a world where I didn't talk to my friends all the time. Like I didn't understand how mama could go so long without talking to her friends. And I'm like, what kind of friendship is this?
You're missing so much.
You're missing so much. I talk to my friends every day. Like we leave school, come home, we get on the phone and talk about what happened that day. How are you living in a world where you don't talk to your friends all the time? So you're right. It changes as you get older.
Because it's a whole, like, that was, I remember all of those times and it just being like, how do you, when does it change to where, like, I mean, of course you get grown and you got stuff going on. So you kind of just start to kind of understand that you have to think about friendships differently. You know, some people are blessed with the opportunity and the availability to continue the same stuff.
Yeah.
But most times with that, I just then kind of wonder, like, well, what is it that you're seeking for yourself at that point? For me, at least. But dang, that is crazy.
But I do talk to my bestie every day. Like, we don't have a phone conversation every day, but we say something to each other typically every day.
Yeah.
It's just like, even if it's just like, hope your day is awesome. Yeah. Keep crushing it, whatever.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I've been there too. Do I have somebody I talk to every day?
Your wife.
I mean, we try to, but yeah, that's, I mean.
That's about it. Because I don't, how often do you think we talk, you and me?
Well, we
Once
used to try to do,
yeah.
I mean, I think at least twice. I mean, it's been less recent because I've been working a lot more.
I've been working. I'm back at work. And so you never had a day off.
Yeah.
So I've been super, it's when we're both
running.
Now,
when I was at my old job, every day.
All the time. Yeah. But we both, I got a new situation.
Yeah.
You haven't.
Yeah. So that changed for us because it used to be like, okay, consistently I'd just be like, yo, did you know that penguins mate for life?
And I would be like, no, I didn't know. Did you know that?
And so, they trying to kill me up here.
Right. So that changed with time. So do you feel like you're a good friend? What makes a good friend? And do you feel like you're a good friend?
Can you count on me when you actually need me? And I don't mean like a dependent need of I'm filling a gap that you should have tried to fill. But can I be there for you when you need me? Like, can you, and I don't mean like driving and getting in your car, but can I call you or can you text me? Like if I'm saying something is crazy, do you make an effort to get back? And just see what's up. Check on me. Am I alive? Am I breathing? How's the wife doing? How's the family doing? And you actually care. Versus it just being like, let me go ahead and shoot this text. Is our relationship predicated on what I can do for you? No, I don't want that. Like I want it to be good friendship to me is always like my success is your success. And I appreciate that in the sense that it's like, if you do something great, don't mean you like, hey, you become a millionaire, you trying to get me and my family out the hood, but am I happy for you? Like, am I just happy that you're succeeding? You're doing what you need to do. You stepped in your calling, whatever that is, and vice versa. I feel like I do that well with my friends. Do I feel like I could be a better friend in the sense of being more present? Yeah. But navigating adult friendships when people got kids, you don't get kids, you working, you married, because you're married, that makes some of your male friends who have no intentions on getting married just like, well, bro, you always doing this stuff. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you also thinking about that in yourself. Well, I don't want to be in a mindset. Like I can't be in that mindset anymore. Like I'm not in the single pack. Like it's still my family, but I can't feed myself with that all the time.
Doesn't friendship, it just changes so much when you get grown and life starts happening and gets more real. And you talked about, I feel like I'm interviewing you, and I don't know why. Why am I interviewing you?
I don't know. It's fun.
Okay. I was going to say, to me, I think friendship, I consider someone my friend when I know that they have my back. And I also, one thing that I look for in friendship is people that will be honest with me, not people that will just
give you lip service when
right.
it's
or just tell me I'm awesome all the time when I know I'm not. You know,
right.
I need people that will hold me accountable, that will say to me, like I was talking to my friend the other day, or yesterday, and she said to me, it's not funny. She was like, you are the person, she was like, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but like, you are a person that you could be having the worst day ever, but you'll call me and you'll be like, how are you? Hello, how are you? You know, how's your day going? Is life well with you? Everything okay with you? And I'll ask you the same. And you'll be like, you could literally be standing on the edge of a cliff getting ready to jump off. And you'll be like, I'm fine. Like,
yeah. And like, but you sound it. And like, if you know you hear it.
No. If I don't want you to know, you will not know.
Here's what happens. God always.
God will tell you.
Because we've had these, like, because he'll tap me and be like, hey, ask her how her day is. Like, because she hasn't offered anything, because that's a normal thing. Like, you will talk about your day. And then I'm like, well, I'm rambling. The old ball and chain is on my nerves. What's going on with you? I never use that term ever.
He does not use that term.
But I was just at that point, I was just being facetious.
He's just trying to dig at you because he knows you are here and listening. He is rude.
But she
was like, you know, you are the friend that like will check on and make sure everybody else is doing, and then like you going through a whole crisis. Life is bad. Crisis. Like. Everything's great. And she was like, and I, as a friend, if I ask you how you're doing and you say things are bad, then I know OM to the G.
Oh, it's terrible. Like, but that's the other, you know, and like, even when I ask you like, well, hey, how's your day going? It's been pretty terrible. And I'm still like, okay. Like what? And then we start to talk through it, and then you're still like, yeah, I mean, it's just but God. And in my head I'm like, okay, because I'll call you with my, like, if I'm having there's no hesitation. Like, nah, I ain't got no. And I want to be better in that, because I don't want to be the friend who's like, oh, anytime he calls me, he's. But it's like, I vent. I'm a venter.
That you are.
Like, and I can listen.
Venti McVenterson.
Like, I'm a vent, but I fan people's flames too, in the sense that it's like, I will sit and listen. Like, if you've had times where you've had the most terrible run of a day, and we've talked about it. I mean, probably not to the extent that you would talk to it. Well.
Yeah,
if we're actually talking about it, yes.
I'm not gonna be like, I won't sugarcoat it if I feel like, and a lot of times I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. I think part of me doesn't want to talk about it because I feel like you can't help me. So,
well, that's what I was going to say, and then that's the other thing that clearly comes off most times. But then it's like I had to sit and I'm like, well, look, I'm not gonna tell you what, like, and Mama says this all the time. I'm not gonna tell you what I want to tell you. I'm going to tell you what God would tell you. I'm going to tell you what your actions and you as a person have told me. I'm just going to repeat stuff to you. Is the only method I know that kind of works with you. And you do say that you listen to me more often. Yeah. I don't know.
You don't think I listen to you?
Not much like my wife. I think that.
Oh, dear.
You both probably do. Not in the way that shows me that you listen, but in a way that
What do you mean? If you're calling me, I'm on the phone. What do you mean show you? I'm listening.
No. That's not what I mean. You know exactly what I'm saying.
No, I promise I don't.
Okay, so if I come to you and God gives me a revelation on something like, so you said you had a terrible day, and I'm like, well, here's what God would want you to do. Have you sat and thought about this? Have you prayed on this? Is this something that you're going to be like, okay, well, I think I've done that, or I don't know if da. And then, like, if you go off and it's like what I said was what you needed to hear, but you're like, well, I've already done that. And then, like, later on, God gives you a scripture or a confirmation from another friend or whoever, then, like, you may action on the thing that I said, but I'm not going to see that. I'm just going to see that you kind of brushed off what it was I was saying at the time.
How often do you think I do that, though?
I think everyone does it all the time. I don't think that there's anybody who just like.
So I think what your issue is you personally, doesn't matter how I receive it, you just feel like nobody listens to you. And that does not have anything to do with me necessarily. It's
your phone was like, hey girl.
Yeah, hey girl, how you doing? So I don't necessarily know, because I feel like I know for sure for myself over these last 2 years, I think I have been a much better friend to you. Instead of always,
I don't think you.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, see,
like, instead of
if
always,
you're saying like, have you not been?
No, I'm just saying. I think I've been a much better friend to you, and we've had this discussion before. Somebody can say something to me. That does not necessarily mean my personality is for somebody to say something to me one time and me necessarily move on it. That's not how I operate.
Yeah. So, no, I understand. So for me, like, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's not an indication that I'm not listening to you. I heard exactly what you said.
No, I got that.
My ears are still open.
That's not because see, the thing that I try to do, especially because of stubborn people like yourself or anybody else, and I'm stubborn in the same ways, is the first thing I do is I realize, okay, do not at all, in as much percentage you can, speak from yourself. You need to take a second. God gonna flow it into you because you need to say something from him right now. Give that. I just have to get to the point to where it's like, okay, whatever happens, I did what he asked me to do.
Right.
If you do it, but that's just harder for me as a person because it's still coming from a little brother. It's like, okay, well, did you value the thing? Did I do what he needed me to do? Like it's hard to kind of see those actualizations because you also have to feel like you're a peer of a person, that they see you as a peer. They see that your information can be valuable. They see that, okay, this isn't something that I got to shake it through the filter of all of these different things before I get to like the fact that you said it plainly and, you know, it wasn't from you and so on and so forth. That's a harder thing. And again, like you said, that's probably something maybe that's on me in terms of friendships, but it's like you want to be a good friend and I want to give you the advice that you need. I want to, you know, or whatever. But
I will also say that for me as a friend, an important part of friendship is sometimes I don't need advice. Sometimes I just need people to listen. And I think that's an important, like you said, I think it's important as a friend to be a good listener and just listen to me and to read the room and to know, yeah, now's a good time to say something or
I know when you ain't having it and it ain't no bearings on nothing you can say. You can cancel Christmas, like she's upset, and then all you need, like most of the times, you just need an affirmation of like, so if you had a bad day at a job and a coworker or somebody was acting out, and most times, like because I know myself and I know I got to get out my random response, I'd be like, hold on, so and so was a real bleep 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 bleep, and I'm like, all right, you can continue now. I just had to like, because otherwise, like, because I respond how you would respond sometimes. And I'd be like, okay. And then most times when I do it, you was like, yes, I felt that. Like I was there. And it's like, and then I'm like, all right, cool. And then when you get done, I'm like, yeah, you it wasn't like an advice thing. It's like, no, you wasn't wrong, and you'll do the rest of it later. In terms of like, okay, I need to be retrospective. Did I go like too hard on this person? Which you're the nicest mean person in the world. And I've said that to you so many times.
You just said it to me the other day. And I was not even trying to be mean.
It's like,
well, I will. That's a whole different conversation for another day.
I've a million times told you how surgical you are as a friend. Like, when it's time for you to tell somebody a truth, like whether it comes from God, whether it comes from you, whether it comes from whoever, the way in which you can use words to like say something, it's like you're not cussing nobody out. You're not like being aggressive, but it's like, oh, why do I feel like I am so wide?
You know what?
Open.
That is the Holy Spirit. That ain't me. That is the Holy Spirit cutting folks. That ain't me. Because really, like the conversation we had the other day, and you were like, I would have cussed you out. Like,
oh, no, fam, I would have. No. Because.
Was I rude, though?
You're never rude. That's not the point. Like, you've never been rude. It's not a rude thing. It's like, honesty can also cut.
Honesty cuts, and that's the Holy
honesty
Spirit,
can hold on. Go honesty and how you say something, just because you're not cussing somebody out, don't mean you're not cussing them out. But, like, if you're gonna give yourself like, because that's my thing, like that you don't even notice sometimes about yourself, is just because what you say is a truth does not mean you should have said it. Does not mean that was something.
So do you think I should not have said some of the things I said the other day? You think I should have reeled it in?
Well, I personally would not have had any of the conversations whatsoever.
Period. Right.
Because like, if you are cut off,
you could,
and I needed to isolate, because
we didn't move from friendship, child.
Yeah, because you would have initially. Well, this is still a part of friendship, because this is something I'm telling you. As a friend, I'm cutthroat. Like, you are cutthroat. And as a friend in that situation, when you have situations like that, that's purely a distraction. And you know it's a distraction before it ever gets to your feet. For less, do you cut off distractions? Like, for less, a coworker would throw a petty comment or something like that at you, and it's cut. Ain't even getting an entry fee to the festival of your mind. But this one got a VIP pass and is sitting in the back, because it's like, I want to show you that you no longer exist here, person. And it's like, but you brought them, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have the credit score to get into here, brother. Like, you don't exist. You cannot. Kind of thing. And, it's it's one of those things, like I said, it's just.
I wasn't rude,
it's hard.
But I will tell you, I said what needed to be said.
Okay.
That was my thing. Right. I don't want to. I'm not a liar.
No.
I'm not going to lie to you.
As a friend, no, you don't. Well, you manipulate, but me personally, you have owned to it, person.
Help him, Jesus.
You've owned to it, ma'am.
Help him.
You said it yourself.
Help him, Lord.
You don't be knowing.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is, they asked me a question.
Yeah.
And they went to a lot of trouble to ask me the question. I answered the question clearly, without curse words.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
So you sent some very truthful emails.
I have.
So in those emails, when you got a response from the person, and majority of the time when you get responses from these people, do they seem, I don't know, afraid or something? Or most of them seem a little like, something is amiss. It doesn't seem like they're like, Well, this was a nicely worded email that said, hey, I just, want you to do this, or if we could do this, if you refer to this or the last meeting, or I reclaim my time, whatever it is you said. In that, when they respond, do you find any joy, or is there some sort of, or is it I said what I said kind of thing? Because if it's just about the truth, as you're presenting it to me,
why won't you? Okay, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm asking because I feel like
I think that's two different areas. You're talking about professional and personal. When it's
the way you deliver is the same.
Promise
line.
is not.
What I'm saying to you is that there's still fire.
I promise you.
There's still fire in it. And the point more so what I'm getting at is I know that when the response is, oh Lord, I did something wrong. There's a bit of joy in you for the truth that you delivered. Yes or no?
I'm going to say no. Okay, let's separate personal and professional.
Okay.
On the personal side, like professionally, it takes a lot to even get me to engage with somebody. Like if they are inappropriate. In the past, my reactions have been, I'm going to address you professionally, but I'm going to let you know, I'm going to put you in your place. Okay? So let's leave professional to the side. Let's talk.
Well, friendship-wise, I do still think if you feel a friend is out of line in regards to yourself, you put them back in line is how you feel. And I feel like a lot of the time there is a level of, here's the thing.
Okay, so let me say this. The person I was talking to is not a friend.
No.
So.
No, you got full. Okay, here's my thing. With that, because we can answer this and then get back and then get to the overarching thing of friends. And
I think this is a great discussion about friendship, and I need to be open to criticism. I did want to talk about this conversation and get some input. So the person I was talking to was not a friend.
No,
but
here's the big thing: whether they're friends or not, you and I both have to be better with how we treat people that we ain't fooling with. Because just because you ain't a good friend, you a terrible person, that don't mean it's full range.
A terrible person.
To me. My opinion. My opinion. Let me clarify it. You might not be terrible. Your insides might be great, and I just don't see it because of what your actions have said to me.
Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, that was good.
See,
good
but
thought
you see how he just tried to make that to your wife in the room. Now, was that not nice, nasty?
Okay. No, I'm not saying I don't have it. I know. I see one when I see one. Like, no, it takes one to know one. You raised one.
Okay.
What? Like, of course I'm gonna see it. You raised one.
Okay.
I just.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But it don't mean we need to say it. Like, because a lot of the time, it's self-serving. Like, because I know for a fact, if I articulate this, it ain't gonna have a curse word in it. It can be pure, unadulterated fact, but it's going to tear you up. And then that's not what we should do.
You're right. That is not what
Truth
we should
or not. And in friendship, sometimes we let that line get blurred too, because friends do need to hear the truth.
They do.
Friends can make us mad, upset us, annoy us. The power of life and death is in the tongue. It is always there. And we are people that our main thing from God is the way in which we speak, the way in which we write. It is literally a God-given gift legacy that carries through our family. Words impact deeply.
Oh, 100%. Words.
Like, I don't mean no harm. Like, as much as we joke about it, like, I promise you, it drops 10 levels of my confidence.
When I hear that, I'm like, she about to cut somebody up.
What did I do?
Because grandma finna
and
give
I'm like,
it to you.
and it don't matter. And like, at that point, it don't matter what you say.
It's
it don't
true.
matter what your information is. Well, it really ain't that. It's this. And like, so we just have to be more aware of the fact that just because you're saying something true, don't mean you said it right. Don't mean you said it in a good spirit. If just because you sit on the fact that, well, what I said was true.
That is very true.
And that's what I mean. Like that's what
you.
that's what I'm trying to bring to
I
the
got
attention.
you.
Because that's you got that spirit so strong.
I do.
That it's like, that's why I'm like, nah, I don't never feel like nothing I said. Because if you like, because what I feel like is you'll take it and then you morph it and find a way, well, I was right the whole time. Like, and then it's like, well, no, I didn't do anything. It was just you finding a way to then morph it back into you. And like even when like, so you do the manipulating thing to me on like clothes. And so then I'll be like, okay, this outfit was actually pretty good. I mean, I wanted to try it. Like, but again, I've already steeled myself before I come in to say, whatever it is she suggests, like, you know what you can actually just say no to, but the rest of it, just try it. And then sometimes, like, wife has me jumping out of airplanes and everything else in terms of change in my life. And then I come to you and then you'll be like, bro, you do know that's marriage. And like, I'm single, but that's marriage. You do have to be more malleable, flexible. And then I come back, I'm like, all right, man. And it's like, those are good cases. Bad cases when it's just like, no, fam, I'm not doing that. Like, why? Like, no, that doesn't, like, okay. And it's harder kind of to do because you'll still sit on your throne of truth and be like, you didn't do what I said. And yeah, well. And you're better, and we both gotten better at not
I've definitely
doing that
gotten
to
better
each other.
at that with you, but I think my friendships outside of my friendship with you, that is not the case. I give advice when someone says, in my friendship outside of you, I give advice. And even honestly with you, I don't give you advice unless you say, how about, okay, I will give you advice if I feel like you're talking to me and what you did was all the way to the left. Then I will say, you are crazy. I may not give my advice on how to course correct, but I will say,
well, here's your way of doing it, because you want to know what your I don't mean no harm is.
What?
So I ain't married, child. I would blah blah blah. I'm like, I can't. You better than me. Like, you do all of the black phrases that then make me be like, like, you know, in friendships, and this is the thing that I've learned, especially from doing the little bit of the relationship goals books that I read.
That you actually read. How about we had a whole book club? This anyway.
I had work and stuff to do, and it's just like by the time I got, I'm still gonna read it.
Write a whole blog every day.
You do. I appreciate you.
Write a whole blog every day.
I'm glad that your walk is so glorified.
It's not glorifying, but this man, go ahead.
The big thing is in friendships, like, we have to know what we're seeking, and we have to start asking for that. In the same way that we seek a partner for marriage, you need to seek that same thing in your friendships. Those are covenants, those are bonds that are integral. The reason we're even having this conversation and showing what friends are is because we wanted to have a spiritual conversation, because the importance of you spiritually to me when I'm asking you stuff is just like, well, I'm asking a person who understands the Lord in a way that the words that come from them, whether it's, you know, from their flesh, whether it's whatever, I should still be able to somewhere discern God is there. Like, okay, I understand that that's not God because of how godly you've been.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something you should seek, because so often we get caught up in just kind of being lukewarm about this stuff.
That's true. You have to pick a side. And I would say even in book club one day, we were having a discussion and somebody said, whose side are you on? And the person responded, I'm on the side of truth. And I think that you have to be a friend that's on the side of truth. But learn to deliver that truth with love.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing, especially if you come to care about the friends like family like we do. Because a lot of times, like, if you and my family, like, once we make you family, we're a stubborn family. So, bro, what I'm telling you is earnest truth, and you need to get your life together. You ain't got your life together. What are you doing? Like, what's going on? And it's not like we don't have an actual patience for the fact that this may take a while. You may have to go off and walk, and you may have to experience something differently. You may have to get burned 2 more times, or God has to reveal himself to you in a completely different way. So what is it that I can do to be better? And I think that I'm getting better in understanding, hey, I really do support you. You can do great. Even when like I was thinking yesterday in book club, when we were sitting and you were having a conversation just about purpose and everything with the blog and podcast and everything. And I think about how I see your impact currently. Like, majority of the days, I'm jealous at how organic and loving I think your community is growing to be. In spite of the numbers, I think that as a friend and as a person who is around you, the light that you give off through the medium, through us talking, through us doing these things, is just God given. And that's something to be fanned. That's a flame you do, because it's like, that's amazing. But also in listening to you yesterday, I learned as just that, but it could also probably be more amazing, if God gives her something else. It doesn't just necessarily mean like all the amazingness I see can still be amazing in another medium.
Right.
Or whatever the case may be. Because but I'm inspired because it's something that I think is so it fits in this way of like, when you see and that's what I'm saying, when you see your friends succeeding, it gets me excited, because in my head I'm like, you'll do a half a thing. Like, so you started the blog, and then I said something to you about the podcast. We started the podcast. In my head, I then see you on TV. I see you doing book tours. I see you being a pivotal figure of having like summits and using all of the things that you've done before in other places. That's where I always see you. So anytime it seems like you have a doubt, I'm like, how? Like, I know the power and amazingness that exists because I see it. I see that with the start of a blog, it was just like, huh? Like, people was like meerkats coming out, looking like heads turning, like, who, what?
Crazy.
But that's what they did. And then like, I think that I wish that I really want y'all to start commenting more. Because I know a lot of y'all be listening, because like,
for me, it's not about that. Let's talk about friendship. And so that is one reason I was going to say that is one reason I love community, and I love having people around me that love the Lord. Because sometimes they can see things that I cannot. Yeah. And my issue is, just because you think it's good doesn't mean that God thinks it's good. Just because you like it doesn't mean that that's what God wants for me to do. He could have some other assignment for me. So I don't ever want to get so stuck in routine. This is what I'm doing, that I don't hear his voice when he's talking to me. So that is my thing. And so I love having community around me that can affirm me or tell me, sis. Because it always goes back to that sermon that Pastor preached. It's been some months now, about the man that kept beating at the tree and his axe head had fallen off. I don't want to beat at something that's not for me. And so this is a whole different conversation. But
that's in building your friends, you have to know how to do it.
Yeah. And in friendship, it is good to have people that can say, I'm going to pray for you. I'm praying with you. This is what I see. But I know at the end of the day, you have to trust God and listen to what God wants for you. So I appreciate that, and I get it. I understand.
I'm telling you, like, it's the wind that blows behind you as you choose things is great. Like, I remember, and the thing about it is, I remember a prayer that I had earlier this year when we were doing I think it was like New Year's or something. Kanae had asked me to write down everything that I wanted to leave what is it that I actually wanted to commission and ask God for. Like I was supposed to write down like more than 100 things, but I was supposed to at least write down 25.
Okay.
Or however many it was, but I wrote those down, and I needed to write some more. But what I wrote is that I want the success that you plan to give us this year to also be infectious and catch on to our friends. And so I thought about that like when I started my podcast, because I had started working on mine like right before I had suggested you do yours. And then when you said, okay, I want to do one, I at least want to try it. And that's when like, okay, all right, cool, we got something. And then to see numbers or just responses come back, you know, from family members and stuff, because a lot of times like your family is not going to support you the way you think they should support you. I mean, that's just the facts. It's not like they don't love you. It's just if they don't get what it is that you're doing, they don't really know how to maneuver in that. Like our family to say like, that was good, I wanted to listen to that, means a million things to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and it's not just because you're doing it. It's because you're doing it and it's good. It's because you're doing it and there's God in it. Like, it's amazing to see that. And I want to be that for my friends. I want to continue to be that. I want to continue to like have successes in my life, and that be infectious to others. Whether they choose to pick up their cross and walk, whether they choose to die unto themselves every day, that's a whole nother thing for them to do. But I still want to have that. And I think that I'm always happy. You're like your success, and like when you put out a blog post or when we're doing the podcast, makes me be like, all right, bro, you got to get your stuff together over here. Like you're a central podcaster. Like you don't have a blog currently. So like your work in terms of publicizing the Gray Area Anime Podcast is
this boy and his plugs
is different. But you gotta keep doing it because you can get that same success and you can continue to build things up. Because I was talking to another family member. I was talking to Devin yesterday, and I was telling him, I said, the thing that I want to do is what I've realized is I really do want this podcasting thing to grow. My goal is for that to be able to pay people, to be able to pay anybody that comes on my show in a network type sense, to where they expect to see you as much as they expect to see me, hear me, and to just continue to grow these faith-based content things where it shows like we are people. We like food. We like these other things. We're not some Hallmark movie that you think, oh, God solves it all in the end kind of thing. And I want to be that kind of friend. And I think that you should want those kind of friends in you.
Yeah, everybody should want those kind of friends, and you should want to be that kind of friend. So, yes, we talked about friendship, but we talked about a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, we got off on a tangent. But
got
that's our
real
stuff.
Yeah, that's life, man. Sometimes you can't stay on the script, because I wanted to challenge him in a public forum on his thoughts of a private conversation I had.
But just be happy that y'all ain't got to hear the episode that we're throwing away in regards to recording this one, because it was
pretty
it's
horrible.
the first
it was very but I think this is a great conversation. Man, be a great friend. Love your friends. Love is an action word.
And look for good friends.
And look for good friends.
Like pray for good friends. You like,
don't accept the trash. And it can be so easy because you just want companionship and you want somebody to be on your team.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have quality friends, you don't need 300 air quote friends.
I love the 300 air quote friends.
Yeah, air quote friends. And then there's air quote at the back. Anyway, so that's it. That's all. Be a good friend. Love your friends.
We'll do a more
centralized
friend conversation.
We'll have to at some point.
But we had some other friends stuff. Like we're being friends to one another. This is the friends to one another.
Let's be friends to one another. And I always want to be receptive, just like I want to make sure I'm hearing God's voice. I want to be receptive to criticism and not automatically deflect it and say, you're wrong. That's a strong trait I have. And so I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
Child.
So anyway.
All right.
So blog posts every day come out at BibleStudyGirl.com. Make sure you go there to check out. Comment, people. We're trying to build a community of people walking in faith together. I like that. I'm going to have to write that down. You can also go to I'll just re-listen to this episode.
Because you'll be done lost the notebook, but go ahead.
Oh my God, you're rude. Instagram _Bible Study Girl. On Twitter, Bible Study Girl 2. You can hit us up on Gmail at Bible Study Girl 2019 at Gmail. And then we have a Facebook where, again, like I said, we're building a community. So come on over. Bible Study Girl. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the page, because you'll get blog posts every day. You get the podcast, because it's not just you preach, she preach, he preach, they preach, but we preach.
And until we meet again, guys, keep preaching.